flew into Islamabad to start my 3-week adventure around Pakistan. The capital city surprised me with how orderly and spread out it is relative to other cities in the region. Leafy green streets led me from modern architecture to sprawling hills full of well-manicured hiking trails. It's a great place to stock up on supplies before heading to the more remote regions of the Western Himalayas, and had a few surprises along the way. This was my first impression of Pakistan, and here's how it went. Good afternoon, guys, and welcome to Islamabad, Pakistan. I just got in late last night, and I'm very excited to be here in Pakistan. It was kind of intimidating getting the visa and even coming here, but it ended up being like a super smooth process with their new e-visa approval. And I'm so excited to head deep into the northern part of Pakistan, deep into the mountains, and I've just seen some pictures and it looks like it's just some of the most beautiful mountains, unspoiled nature way up there. But I'm spending the first 2 days here in Islamabad just to get a bunch of supplies, get some snacks, stock up on cash for the long trip up into the North Hunza Valley region. So yeah, and so I'm going to show you guys a little bit of Islamabad here. I'm honestly, on the surface, there's not too much to get excited about here. It's a fairly new capital city. It was only built in the 1960s to replace Karachi as the capital city to make a more central, more protected capital city here in Pakistan. So the whole city is actually completely designed. So if you look at it on a map, it's just this grid structure of roads and neighborhoods and sectors, and it's almost like a battleship grid. Like every little sector and zone is labeled a letter and a number. So I'm in F11 now, but you'll see like there's like B3, G12, H7. It's just all on this like number letter grid. So it's a very boring looking capital just on a map level. But it is also known to be one of the most green capital cities in the world. And as you can see from here, we have some of the Margala hills that are just on the outskirts of town. So there's some beautiful hiking even here in Islamabad before you even head up north. So this afternoon I'm gonna show you guys, there's a really famous mosque on the outskirts of town, and then yeah, hoping to do some of the hiking through the Margala hills. So yeah, we have just again 2 days here to explore Islamabad, so let's show you guys what it's like. So it's just walking back to my hotel to grab a taxi, and one of the things that I heard about Pakistan is that they just have the most colorful trucks. So you'll just be like, again, this is only my first day, so I haven't experienced it yet, but I've heard about it, and you'll just be driving down the highway and just see these beautiful pieces of artwork just driving along the road. And so anyways, I was walking back and I saw some of these trucks parked along here, so let's check out this guy's truck. Alright guys, that truck was so beautiful. Like, it makes me so excited to hit some of the highways and just looking out the window, watching both the scenery and all the trucks going by. So anyways, let's keep heading back to the hotel. Got to rearrange some stuff, and then we'll head out to explore more of Islamabad. We've just had about a 15-20 minute taxi ride across town to the westernmost part of Islamabad here, and we've made it to the foothills of the Margala Hills, and we are just getting our first views of the Faisal Masjid, which is the largest mosque here in South Asia and the 6th largest mosque in the world. And it just has this beautiful, unique modern architecture built in the late 1980s. So let's head in and check it out. Right as we entered the mosque complex here, there's this massive kind of courtyard, and there's all these places where people wash up before they go into prayer. And then you have this fountain. There's no water running now, but there's a fountain, and then you just have this beautiful view looking up at this very modern looking mosque. So we're gonna kind of keep exploring the outer courtyard here. There's some like beautiful tiling, just such modern, simplistic architecture before heading into the mosque, but this is just a beautiful area. In this outer courtyard area, there's even this elevated area, and there's just such beautiful geometric architecture all around. So it's been fun to just walk along the outside here and just getting nice views of the main part of the mosque here. And then you're right at the base of the Margala Hills, so you can just see some of these mountains that are right here, and then you can look off way in the distance here and see a little bit of the Islamabad skyline. But this mosque was actually commissioned by the King of Saudi Arabia in the 1980s, and again, when he built it, it was the largest mosque in the world until Saudi Arabia has since built like 4 or 5 mosques that are bigger in the 1990s. But it's kind of shaped like a Bedouin tent to highlight some of the Saudi Arabia desert nomad people. So it has this kind of like sloped but modern geometric shape to it. So yeah, let's head into the mosque and see what it looks like on the inside. So just as we were about to enter the mosque here, the prayer started. So you can hear the call to prayer reverberating through the courtyard here. So it should be cool to kind of see it during prayer time. We just went into the mosque, and it was again right at prayer time, so there were a bunch of men there at the front doing some of their prayers, and the mosque just had a beautiful minimal interior. There was at the front there was these beautiful blue and yellow mosaics, then in the middle chandelier was this very geometric gold ornate kind of chandelier, but it had a very modern geometric look to it. Yeah, it was beautiful. Oh, here we're hearing the prayer again. And then the carpet was just beautiful red, and yeah, so very majestic interior to this modern mosque here. So anyways, the call to prayer is going again now, but we're gonna probably head out of the courtyard of the mosque area here and explore a little bit more of Islamabad. There should be like a little village called Sidepur not too far from here, so gonna head out, grab a taxi, and head to some of the little villages surrounding Islamabad.
Pakistani taxi.
Ah, okay. So we've just made it, just about a 10-minute drive from the mosque there, and we're right at the base of the Margala Hills again, and we're at Sidepur Village, which is just the slightly older, more historic village on the outskirts of Islamabad. And Islamabad is built in the valley, so it's super flat down here. But here we're just starting to get like a little bit of hills and a little bit of texture, and it just has an older village feel to it. So we're just gonna walk around the village here and explore. I think there's like some cool old animal markets, maybe some touristy shops and stuff. So yeah, let's walk around and check out Sidepur. guys, so right as we were entering the village of Sidepur here, we saw a couple live animal markets, so we want to head back. It was just like a quarter mile as we were entering the village, so let's head back and check out some of the live animal markets here. Alright, so right as you're entering Sidepur here, there's just this one street that just has a bunch of goats and sheep. There's some cows over there, and all of these animals are for sale. So there were a couple trucks here where they were loading up some goats. Some guy was like squeezing some fresh goat milk, and I asked one of the guys who spoke good English how much he was selling goats for, and he said about 15 to 20,000, which is like 60 or 70 US dollars you can buy a goat. So yeah, very interesting though to just see this live animal market here on the edge of town. Right at the edge of the animal market, we came across another one of these beautiful trucks with just such beautiful design, and the top just has such intricate painting all over the side, and it's all just hand painted, and it's beautiful. Love how colorful these trucks are. After checking out the animal market just a little bit to the east of town, we've come back to the center of the village of Sidepur, and on the edge here we have this old Hindu temple. It's 240 years old, but it's like this, it looks so different than any of the Hindu temples I've seen in India. It's like this reddish pink brick on the outside, but then you go in this little like courtyard area and there's just such intricate paintings and beautiful arched doors. Let's walk around and show you guys the inside of this old Hindu temple here in Sidepur. Alright, after exploring the little kind of like center of the little village here, we're gonna find some back streets here and just kind of walk through the windy old town of Sidepur. So let's check it out. We've been wandering some of just the back streets of this little village here, and you're going up a little bit of a hill, so we can look back down and just see the flat valley of Islamabad. You can see a couple of the like dotted skyscrapers there off in the distance, but this is a really interesting village to explore. It just feels so local, authentic, old, a little bit rugged and run down, but just really interesting place to kind of just walk around and see a little bit of the village life here in Pakistan. So we just kind of wandered through the Sidepur Village a little bit, which was just like a really interesting side to see of Pakistan. And you were kind of up on these hills looking down on the valley of Islamabad, and just kind of wandered through there for about half a mile and then came up a little bit more north, and we're right at the edge of the Margalla Hills National Park here. And so we're going to take trail number 3, which should be about 2 or 3 miles to take us to the top of the Margalla Ridge. And there's a cafe and nice viewpoints along the way, and just beautiful forest and nature here on the outskirts of Islamabad. So yeah, we're gonna go for a little hike and just enjoy the nature, enjoy the views. So let's check it out. Just hiked about half an hour or about 2 kilometers up to, there's this little viewpoint that's just off the side of trail 3, and you're just looking out over all of Islamabad, and you can see just how spread out, and you can see a little bit of like the grid shape of it, and you can look right down this road towards Rawal Lake. And yeah, it's just these beautiful views, and then you have the Margalla Hills all surrounding us on this side. And we're probably only about like a third of the way. We still have about 1.5 miles to hike all the way up to the top of the hills here. Probably just a little bit more than halfway, but we've just been going through these beautiful woods. I've just come up over this like rock escarpment, and then there's just, you can start to see some really cool layers of the Margalla Hills over here. And then still looking down on the valley, you can see the Faisal Mosque way down there where we were earlier today. And yeah, we have this big hill that we have to go up and over, and then we'll be on the ridge. So let's keep hiking. All right guys, I've just turned the corner of this hill here, and it is like a whole city up here. There's like a massive, it looks like tons of cafes, lots of layers. I was expecting like one tiny little coffee shop, but this looks like a whole village of different coffee shops, cafes, food courts. So yeah, home stretch here, just not too far, and then we'll be able to enjoy a cup of coffee overlooking the Margalla Hills. So let's keep going. So this place is just massive. There's so many tiers and terraces, and everyone's setting up for, because it's Ramadan, so they're gonna do iftar right at sunset, where there'll be a bunch of buffets. So it smells really good. And then you have just these beautiful views looking down on the valley here. So yeah, gonna definitely just get a coffee, hopefully get some water. I don't know if we can get any food until sunset, but just gonna enjoy these views looking out over Islamabad from up here on the Margalla Hills. So we've just come to Gloria Jeans, which is right on the edge of of the row of restaurants here, and we just still have these beautiful views. So we're gonna just hang out here, we're gonna get a coffee, and then eventually after the sun sets we can order some food to break iftar, to break the fast for the day, and just enjoy some of these beautiful views overlooking Islamabad Valley. So yeah, that's about it for the first day here in Islamabad. Tomorrow I hope to explore a little bit more of the capital city here before we head up north to the mountains, to Hunza Valley and Gilgit. But we'll see you guys tomorrow when we explore more of Islamabad. Good morning, guys. It's our second day here in Islamabad, and this afternoon we're actually going to catch a night bus up to Gilgit. It's a 14-hour bus, and that leaves at about 8 o'clock. So this morning we've just been trying to figure out some of the logistics here of trying to book the bus and everything. Anyways, we have a couple hours to explore Islamabad a little bit more this morning. So there's this big market that only happens on Tuesdays, Fridays, and Sundays, and it's a Tuesday. So we're gonna check out the market here. So I've just made it to the Itwar market here, and one of the reasons I wanted to come here before heading up to the mountains is there's a lot of like used and gently worn like clothing, so you can get a lot of like really cheap athletic gear. I just got some nice like dry fit shirts for like less than $3. So yeah, it's a good place to stock up a little bit before going up to the mountains to do some hiking to get some secondhand clothing. So, but then all throughout here there's like different sections where there's antiques and vegetables, and so yeah, it's just a very cool local big open flea market here. So we're gonna keep walking around and exploring just a little bit of this like local flea market here in Islamabad. Market is massive. It's almost like a quarter-mile long, and it's just it weaves through all these different sections. Like I was in like the used clothing, then I was in like just cloths and textiles, then there were shoes, and then there were like kids toys, and now I'm in like the fruit and vegetable stand. So you have like fruits and vegetables here, but yeah, it's just an amazing place to walk around, and it's so local feeling, and it's starting to get pretty busy. There's lots of people out and about, and yeah. And again, I actually got some nice clothing here, and there's lots of good stuff that you can buy. We're just about a mile and a half from the Pakistani monument, which is kind of in the center, or it's right in between Islamabad and Rawalpindi. So I'm gonna try to find a scooter or taxi here and head to the Pakistani monument. Taking some fat dirt paths and just like went over this pedestrian crossing over the highway, but we're almost there. Very interesting scooter ride here. We went on the highway, then we went on this like pedestrian overpass, and then we were dirt biking for a while. Then there was like a 2-foot drop off like on this ramp, and I was like, I can get off, and he's like, no, stay on. And so we just went off this ramp here. So we've finally made it to the Pakistan monument here, and there's a little museum. There's the big like petal-shaped monument over here, and there's nice just viewpoints looking over all of Islamabad and the Margala Hills. So let's head up to the monument and check it out. So I've just made it to the inside of the Pakistan monument here, and there's 4 of these really large petals and 3 of the small petals, which each represent one of the cultures. There's like 4 main cultures of Pakistan and then 3 minority cultures, and then all of the petals together create one unified flower. So that's some of the symbolism of this monument here. On the 4 main petals here, you have some inscriptions and some artwork that is depicting different eras of the Pakistani rule. You have some of the British rule, but then you have some pictures and images of the architecture from the Mughal era, and then even from some of the modern era here. Like you can see the Faisal Mosque on one of these. And yeah, and it's just kind of, again, raised up on this hill so you can see it from all over the city, and it was finished in 2007, so it's a pretty new monument here, and a lot of its architecture is derived from some of the Mughal influence that was throughout the subcontinent here. I'll actually head out of the monument here and just behind it to show you some of the views that we have of the Margala Hills and Islamabad from up here. So just from the Pakistani monument right here, you kind of come down to this little platform, and it has all of these nice orange beige archways that just give amazing views looking back on the Margala Hills and a little bit of the city center of Islamabad. You can see a few sparse skyscrapers, and again, it's just such a massive spread out city, and it's such a new city, so I feel like they're still building so much of it. And it's, yeah, interesting from here. You just see so much greenery going up into the hills. So it's a very green, very sparsely populated city. There's only about 1 million people in this city, and it's about the 6th largest city here in Pakistan. So it's nowhere near one of the large cities of like Lahore or Karachi. And so yeah, and it's also very spread out. When you want to get everywhere, you have to get these taxis, and it just takes a while, and ends up costing a lot of money as you add up all the taxis from traveling around here. So anyways, that being said, and the fact that I'm leaving like later this afternoon to head to northern Pakistan, I think this will be it for exploring Islamabad. I'm sure there's a lot more you could kind of see in this downtown area, some of the skyscrapers. I might check out the mall here, which is those 3 tall towers. And originally I wanted to take you to Rawalpindi, which is it was the capital city for just a couple years, and it's like an older part of Islamabad, so it'd give you a lot more of a cultural sense and a little bit more of an old town feel here in Pakistan. But I'm sure I'll be doing some older towns like Peshawar and maybe Lahore later, so I don't think I'm going to bother taking the taxi all the way in the opposite direction when I actually need to go back and pack and rest a little bit before heading up to the north of Pakistan, which is what I'm so excited about, and everyone that I've met has just been raving about the north of Pakistan. So I'm very excited to take you guys up to Gilgit tonight and the Hunza Valley, Skardu, and it should be amazing. But Islamabad is like kind of the necessary little stopover. Again, I flew in here, or you could fly into Lahore and then come to Islamabad, but you basically need to come to Islamabad to get these buses up to Gilgit in the Hunza Valley. So yeah, and it's worth, I'm sure there's so many more hikes you could do up in the Margala Hills and that massive mosque, and yeah, just interesting to see such a more modern part of Pakistan. There were times where I didn't even feel like I was in Pakistan here. It's just very modern, very well developed, and yeah, just a very like new, spread out, structured feeling city. So so anyways, that's it for Islamabad, and yeah, I'm gonna head up north on a 14-hour bus ride to Gilgit tonight. So I'll see you guys in the Hunza Valley. Bye.